Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, March the Machine, spoiler season. Mom spoiler season, not Mom's spoiler season. Mom, M-O-M, spoiler season is here. Day 3, lots of exciting stuff. If you haven't seen my other episodes today, make sure you check those out at some point. Check my other ones out from the previous days. My goodness, there's so many good things. And to finish off this day, my goodness, well, this one's been on my mind all day, and I've been pondering, I've been thinking, and I had an idea. And here we go. So, Invasion of Alara, a battle siege. And if you haven't seen my episode on like what battles are or whatnot, make sure you check out that one at some point. Regardless, we're going to go through kind of like how they work essentially in this too. Wooburg, that is the cost of this. White, blue, black, red, green. That'd be Wooburg. When Invasion of Alara enters the battlefield, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile 2 non-land cards with mana value 4 or less. That's spicy. You may cast one of them without paying its mana cost. Put one of them into your hand, then put the rest on the exile cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. And this one does cost, it has 7 defense points or something. I can't remember what they called that essentially. You need to hit this for 7, and then it goes away, and then you can recast it. Essentially, well, not recast it. It exiles, then you cast it. It's kind of weird that they did this. It's not like a transform. It's like exile then cast, but I guess you'll see probably why here in a second we talk about the back. Let's talk about the front, though, and this is the side that I want to focus on. So, yeah, when it enters the battlefield, you get to exile cards from your library until you hit some things that meet a requirement. Again, mana value 4 or less, non-land cards. You get to cast one of them for free. One goes in your hand. That's a lot of value, again, for 5 mana, essentially. Hey, even without that backside of the card, essentially, you are getting a spell cast for free. Yeah, you're paying 5 mana for it. You're also drawing a card. But if you build your deck in a specific way, you can ensure that you're probably hitting certain kinds of spells. And because of that, well, if you know me, you know that I like to build some off-the-wall Mad Lad type decks. And yeah, a deck built around this card. Now, this obviously isn't a commander, but a deck built around this card I think could be quite spicy, quite fun. And the backside of this card is fun too. And of course, you could utilize that side. And I would probably utilize that side as well in combination once I was set up properly. Let's move on to the backside. So again, after you deal 7 damage to this, basically, okay, sorry, I should have started off again. Battles. You get this in play, the ETB is going to happen, but you also are giving this to one of your opponents, essentially, to protect. So you're like, hey, this is your battle. You defend it. It's a siege, okay? So then, essentially, what's going to happen is every single other player, other than the player who has, you know, protection of it, is protecting it, or whatever you call it, attacks that. You can attack that. You don't have to, I guess. You attack that to take down the defense points on it, or whatever they're called. And yeah, once you do that, you're probably going to be the only one who's really doing that, unless you can incentivize your opponents to do it as well. Once you do that, you get to exile it, and then you get to cast the back of the card, which is Awaken the Maelstrom. This is a spicy card. It is a sorcery that is all colors, which I'm sure has some application somewhere. Actually, it kind of does with one of the commanders I'm going to recommend here in a little bit. Regardless, it says target player draws 2 cards. Cool. 2 cards. What's not to love about that? You may put an artifact card from your hand on the battlefield. Awesome. You got an artifact in your hand? Put it on the battlefield. Create a token's copy of a permanent you control. That's also quite nice. That can have some really cool ramifications. Distribute 3+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 creatures you control, and destroy target permanent opponent control. So you get a lot of value out of this side as well. And yeah, again, like I said, hey, I might not be a player who's going to focus on trying to get to this side. I'm going to be a player who's focusing on that front side and using it, abusing it as much as I can and getting an absurd amount of value out of it and doing some pretty crazy things with it. Yeah, the backside actually can play into that as well. And we'll talk about some cards that can really help with this too. And yeah, some different effects that are going to make this really cool. But again, let's talk about how I would personally build around this card. And yeah, I can definitely picture a deck built around it. We'll talk about some commanders that might work really well with it too. I think it's a really exciting card. So, you know what? Let's jump into my first cards that I want to bring up and talk about. Those are going to be some tutors. Those are going to be tutors that cost 5 mana or more. Now, your typical tutor in Commander that many people use. Okay, I guess if you've got the money for it. Sure, yeah, whatever that 2 mana one is. Brain's not working right now. Demonic Consultation. No, that's a combo card. Oh my goodness. No, Demonic Tutor. Not Diabolic Tutor. Demonic Tutor. There we go. Regardless, that's 4 mana usually for the regular tutors. If you've got the money for it, it's 2 mana for a tutor. we want to focus on 5 mana tutors because we don't want to really hit tutors off of the trigger from our card. Again, we do not want Invasion of Alara to be like, hey, I'm going to reveal cards, or exile cards, I guess, until I hit a tutor. Cool. No, the tutors are for getting this. And once we get Invasion of Alara out, we do not want to have tutors hit off the top. If we, get some tutors in our hand, from drawing, that's fine too. We can use them for other things. Regardless, Razcast right. Just a simple tutor, go get any card from your library, get in your hand. If we don't need it, we can cycle it away, which is great. So there you go. A good amount of flexibility there. Next up, Increasing Ambition. Another tutor that does cost 5. So again, our battle cannot hit it, which is great. A phrase I never thought I'd say in Magic. Our battle cannot hit it. This makes sense. Search live for a card, put your card in your hand. If Increasing Ambition was cast in your graveyard instead, you get 2 cards instead of 1, and it's got flashback. So basically, this can be a card that you can utilize later again. If you really need to get some specific cards out of your library, you can. You can go get more cards after you already go get your battle, right? You can go get 2 more cards. That's great. Next up, we've got Brain Spoil. This one is so spicy. I absolutely love Transmute cards. I think people sleep on Transmute cards so much. They're so good. Destroy target creature that isn't enchanted, can't be regenerated. So yeah, if you need a removal spell, sure, it's a removal spell. But more importantly, it is a sorcery that costs 5 mana, and it has Transmute for 1 black, which means you can pay that mana, you can discard it, and then you can go get any 5 mana card in your library, which is probably and will be Invasion of Alara. So go get that, get in your hand. For 3 mana, it's a 3 mana tutor essentially that really can't be countered. Okay, like a Stifle effect could do it, but like most counter spells can't. The vast majority of counter spells can't counter this because it's like an ability and not, it's an ability and not something that you're actually casting. You're just transmuting it. You know what I mean. It's a great tutor spell. Do not sleep on this. Also, another one. A supply and demand. Okay, well, supply is not really something I'm going to talk about here, but demand. The total converted mana cost of this is 5. And demand says, search the library for a multicolor card, reveal, put in your hand, then shuffle your library. So again, there might be a variety of multicolor cards you might want to go get, but yeah, when you're trying to get set up, go get Invasion of Alara. It is obviously multicolored, so yeah, a great tutor, and again, one that we will not hit off the top of our library because of the total converted mana cost of this card. So, once we go get Invasion of Alara, what else are we going to be doing? Okay, we're going to be getting it in play, and we're going to be playing it, and we're going to be hitting some things, and we very well might hit something like, Teferi's Time Twist, which is great because this says exile target permanent you control, return that card to the battlefield under its control to get an extend step, and if it's a creature comes with an extra counter on it, cool. But basically, hey, we can actually blink a battle with this. Again, for whatever reason, in my mind, I always just like, oh yeah, I'll find another spell that can blink an enchantment. Oh wait, yeah, it's not an enchantment. It's a battle, which is different than an enchantment. But yeah, regardless, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be blinking it and bringing it back, making it so that you get that ETB again. Now, obviously, keep in mind that resets the counters on it too. So yeah, in case you're trying to like take it out, don't do that. But you get that ETB again, which means that you get to reveal again until you hit another card that costs 3 or less, or sorry, 4 or less. Goodness gracious, I'm losing it at the end of the day today. 4 or less. And again, you get to draw another card too. So you can stack your hand, you can fill your hand with more and more cards, and you keep blinking it. And of course, this is a great way to keep things going once you get to the actual plan that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, Flicker Wisp, another way to blink this as well. Again, you need kind of that broad way. At this point, I don't think we've got any way to specifically blink a battle, because I don't know if Wizards ever going to make that, because typically players aren't going to be like, yeah, I'm going to get this in play, and now I want to take it out. But you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to blink it. So I think this is kind of a different case scenario. Regardless, Flicker Wisp, exile it, or sorry, when it enters the battlefield, exile a target permanent, return that card to the battlefield, under its control, we can extend step. So again, a creature that can help us out with that as well. Blink it, get it back, get that ETB again, though it's obviously slightly delayed. Brago, won't get to that blink right away, but it's a great repeatable blink effect. Deals counter to a player, exile any number of target non-land permanents you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Now, I do need a clarification from Wizards on this, actually, and I probably should have actually said that before Teferi's Time Twist as well. Do you technically control the battle, or does the opponent technically control the battle? I don't know exactly how battles work with that, I guess. I probably should have looked that up before getting this far in the episode, but you know what? I'm stubborn. So let me know in the comments below if you know the rules on that exactly. If that is the case, obviously, you're going to have to make some adjustments. Something like a Flicker Wisp would still work, obviously, because you can still blink any target permanent. Brago can only blink ones that you technically control. And I don't know if your opponents actually control the battle, which I don't know if they do, because that'd be kind of weird, because then if they have something that can sacrifice a permanent, they would sacrifice that. I don't know. Anyways, regardless, if it does work, Brago is a great repeatable blink effect for this. Now, with all that in mind, let's move forward to the actual plan for this. And yeah, for those of you that know me and have seen some of my episodes before and have seen, well, I love 0 mana spells that are not supposed to be cast from your hand. Inevitable Betrayal, or actually cast from your hand, but just cast. This one is a suspend card for 1 blue, so you're supposed to have to suspend for it and wait. I don't like waiting. I want to cast this right away, and I want to cast it from my library a lot of the time with something like this. Now I've got a Cody deck built around this. Now also I'm considering maybe doing a deck with this, Invasion of Alara, because why not? It's fun. Anyways, search target opponent's library for a creature card, put that card on the battlefield under control, then that player shuffles. Now, you can get some really heavy hitting cards out of your opponent's libraries. Yeah, especially if you're playing against Eddie. You can get some really big creatures out of opponent's libraries that can just smack them for a ton, which is great. Also, keep in mind again, let's say you get something absolutely massive, maybe something evasive as well, maybe so a trample. You can get through on that battle and take it out. And again, on the back side of the card, you can get a lot of juicy things, again, like draw 2 cards. You can cheat an artifact to play, sure. You can also make a copy of a permanent you control, which might be that creature that you stole. You can also get counters on it. And yeah, one more thing that I can't remember, but regardless, all good. I think destroy a permanent opponent controls. There you go. Anyways, you got a lot of spicy things that you can do, and I'll talk about some ways here in a bit to get that back if you do go about that direction. But also, alongside Inevitable Betrayal, we're also going to be running a good amount of copy spells, like Increasing Vengeance. This is a great spell, and so are other copy spells like it. Copy target instant spell you control. If that spell is cast from a graveyard, copy that spell twice instead. Sorry, if this spell is cast from a graveyard, copy it twice instead. 2 targets for the copy. So this works in a couple of ways that are great. Number 1, hey, yeah, copy your Inevitable Betrayal. Why not? Hey, have 2 creatures instead of 1. Maybe, split it up. Go get a creature from this player. Go get a creature from another player. Have fun with that. Also, again, if you do, knock out that battle or whatever you call it, take out, siege the battle, whatever it's called, cast the backside of that card. Yeah, being able to copy that much value a couple of times can be absolutely incredible as well. Again, especially if you already, Inevitable Betrayal, right? And you have a giant creature out, you're just making more and more copies of it, with that Awaken the Maelstrom or whatever it's called. Have fun with that. Oh, it's so good. Okay, and then Elixir of Mortality is a card I want to mention as well because, yeah, you also want to make sure that you can actually get Inevitable Betrayal back in your library at a certain point, right? So maybe a card like this that can actually shuffle your entire library. Maybe more specific ones if you, only want to keep certain cards essentially in your library. You'll keep other ones in your graveyard. So this one says pay 2, tap. You gain 5 life, shuffle in your graveyard, in your owner's library. So basically, it's a way to completely, reset things and be able to just do it again and again and again because it reshuffles itself back in there. But if you want a more specific way to shuffle specific cards in your graveyard, like, Inevitable Betrayal, make sure you're looking out for those as well. So yeah, definitely some things to consider. Now, another thing to consider is, again, that when you utilize that battle, right, it is actually going to, and when you utilize the battle, when you knock out that battle, when you take down the battle, someone let me know the phrasing that you're supposed to use for that. Regardless, when you do that and you get to cast the backside of the card, well, what is going to happen is that, well, you cast, I'm looking at the name again, Awaken the Maelstrom. I gotta write that one time. Good for me. Okay, you cast Awaken the Maelstrom, and then when it's in your graveyard, because I don't believe it exiles, no, it does not, it is going to go to your graveyard as Invasion of Alara, right? Because that's the front side of the card. So then because of that, let's use something like Obsidat's Aid to get it right back out, to get that ETB again. Sorcery for 3, white, black. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. There's other ways to return permanents from graveyard to the battlefield. Make sure you're considering those too. But yeah, again, just your opponents think they're done with it. They're like, oh, okay, thank you. Okay, finally, Mitch is done with this janky deck. Mitch already did the thing. Okay, all right, now we can all just keep moving on with our normal lives. And then I'm like, nope, Obsidat's Aid. It's coming right back out, and here we go again. And then everyone's annoyed. So that's the plan. Yeah, I think so. I think that's gonna be pretty good. Regardless, now let's talk about some commanders that might want to consider this card and ones that, in my opinion, want to consider the strategy that I'm implementing around this card. And first up, well, I kind of just want to bring up Jensen Garthalion, Druid Exile, because I think there's something to be said about a 5-color commander that isn't all that threatening, let's just say. I mean, I'm not saying Jensen's not threatening, but like, it's not like, oh gosh, there's Sliver Queen. Yeah, no. This is not Sliver Queen. This is not Dragon. This is not, I mean, Golos is banned. But this is not that. It's not all that intimidating. 2/2 Human Druid that says whenever you're casting a multicolored spell, scry 1. Nice, you get some additional value whenever you're casting multicolored spells. That's all as all colors. You get a 4/4 white instant token with flying and vigilance. So when you're casting your, the front side of it, when you're casting the Invasion of Alara, you are getting that trigger. You are getting an angel, and I believe when you cast the back side as well, again, Awaken the Maelstrom, it is all colors. It says in the card all colors. You'd also get that trigger as well. So you just make some angels too. That's nice. That's nice. Why not? Pay 5, tap, add Wooburg. So this one is just mana fixing for you as well, which is fantastic. So again, basically, you're going to want to obviously include a good amount of ramp in this deck, a good amount of ways to actually, fix your mana, essentially. And so when you do that, you're going to want to make sure that you can actually, utilize your mana properly to actually get that. Now, you do obviously also want to be careful with the balance of ramp in your deck. With, the mana values of 4 or less. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be a kind of, push and pull with that, too. So, Jensen can be a good way to go about that, again, because it kind of auto-fixes your mana for you. So, there you go. Like Giganta would be around the same way, too. Next up, Coyote, Soul of Kamigawa. This is an interesting one because just keep it in your command zone, essentially, as a way to protect, essentially. It's a 3/3 Flash Flying Dragon Spirit that says when it enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Coyote. So, basically, just have it in your command zone, and opponents are like, I want to destroy that battle because Mitch keeps blinking it very annoyingly. And you're like, nope, don't want you to do that. Or, again, if you Nebula Betrayal someone's giant creature and they're like, I want to destroy that creature because Mitch is beating me with my own creature and I don't like that for some reason. Then you can be like, well, I've got Coyote in the command zone and 4 mana up, so have fun trying to destroy it. So yeah, this can be another option. Again, a commander that is not all that threatening at all when it comes to 5-color commanders. Moving on, Garth One-Eye, a bit more threatening, but still not one of the most threatening commanders, I'd say, in 5-color. Tap, choose a card name that hasn't been chosen from among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus. Create a copy of the chosen name, cast the copy. Basically, hey, a very flexible, a kind of toolbox commander, Swiss Army knife of a commander, essentially, and one that does have access to Regrowth, obviously, which can get you back, a card like, Increasing Vengeance or something like that, so you can recast your copy spells, you can get back, ways to maybe shuffle Inevitable Betrayal back in your library, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah. A flexible commander, one that can help you out in a lot of circumstances, and giving you access to removal, giving you access to, card draw, and giving you access to, I guess, a Shivan Dragon is not a bad thing either. And Black Lotus, you ever heard of that card? I don't know. Anyways. So, yeah, that's just my idea for Invasion of Alara. It's, pretty off the wall, I think. Kind of similar to a previous idea I had, obviously, with Cody, but I think it's kind of different. I don't know. I want a different kind of way of going about it, in just a weird way, like blinking a battle. I think it's kind of strange. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of unexpected. And having an entire deck just built around blinking this battle again and again and again for value, and casting things like Inevitable Betrayal again and again and again, copying that, attacking the battle finally at one point when your opponents don't think you're ever going to, taking it out, and then casting the backside, copying that, seems like it could be a lot of fun. And beating your opponents with their own creatures is just one of the most enjoyable things in Magic, in my opinion, because, hey, it's not my fault you put Blightsteel Colossus in your deck. It's your fault. You chose to do that, not me, okay? So I'm just going to pay you back a little bit for doing that. So yeah, there you go. Why not? Why not have fun with it? Let me know what your thoughts are on this card in the comments below. Yeah, let me know what kind of deck you'd build around it. Also, make sure you check out my episode on, oh my goodness, another giant dinosaur. And this one hits incredibly hard. I don't want to spoil the entire episode, but it's got the potential of being a free dinosaur that has 20 power. So make sure you check that one out at some point. Regardless, comment below with your thoughts on all this. Of course, stay tuned for more quick takes and spoilers. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.